Hello, darlings. Welcome to season 3 of Front Porch Feelings.
I'm excited.
If you are a first-time visitor to our podcast, we'll just tell you really quickly how this works. We don't do any retakes. We don't ever refilm. We do this in one shot.
Doing it live.
Doing it basically
recording
live, as we always do. It's recording while we're live right now. The goal of this is not to come off as some sort of, expert or perfect person or couple. Right. We try to sit here on our back porch. Used to be the front porch.
It used to be the front porch, now it's the back porch, and we are welcoming a beautiful sunrise right now.
I wish y'all could see it.
And
I can't look too much at it yet. But the goal here is to talk to y'all exactly as you would talk to your closest friends and family. Just sitting on the front porch, rocking along, talking about real things in real ways and in really honest ways. That's kind of the main goal.
And to help with that, we actually have a rock.
We do. We can rock if we want to.
Yes. Really nice.
So our first podcast of the year, we actually arrived back here in Hawaii last night. So y'all will be seeing this on Monday, but we arrived late in the afternoon. Slept some, got up this morning. The first thing we did was get here to be with y'all because the theme for this first week is Thrive in 2025. And so we thought about, while we do talk in real ways, we also, are trying to make a quality content that is not just a bunch of fluff in your ears and in your lives. So we took some time to make some notes. Are you going to get blind? The Son and the Lord said the podcast is good.
Lifting us to the kingdom.
If you're not watching this, if you're listening to it on another platform that doesn't host the video, just the clouds parted and this magnificent beam of light just came down on us. It is really stunning, but I have to kind of just look this way. But anyhow, so we talked and we got together what we consider our top 5 ways to keep resolutions, or if you're not a resolution maker and you're a goal setter, then these will also apply to helping you accomplish your goals. So top 5 reasons or top 5 ways
to thrive in 2025.
1, get support.
2, get over yourself.
I couldn't do that one. 3, get real about the journey.
4, get educated.
And number 5, my favorite, get back up.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah. So we're
I wanted to rock, paper, scissors to see who can talk about that.
Oh, you can definitely talk about it, but you have to be the one that talks about getting over yourself because that's tough love.
Yeah.
And I'm not quite as good at that one.
That's
so we got our little slides running in the background. Do you want to hear our first point?
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to start our timer over here, which I meant to do because I really get passionate and I get into stuff and I'm concerned that we're going to talk too long. The goal here is to keep the podcast around 30 minutes. We're going to pretend like we don't have any idea how long we've been going so far. I'd say 3 minutes.
3 minutes is good. It's even number. It's the average time of full length.
It's a fun episode of New Girl.
Yeah.
If you're into just some fun quirkiness.
Or Man on the Inside.
Which we've only seen one episode of, so we cannot endorse that. We don't know for sure. So how to thrive in 2025. We're just going to circle us back around here. Get support is the first one. Number 1, get support. A word I often hear with goals and resolutions is accountability. And I always want to go back to finding the person that helps you want to accomplish your goal.
It reminds you of why you wanted it the first time you thought about it.
Yes. To me, that's more about getting support than accountability. And maybe it's a tomato potato kind of thing as far as we're both saying the same thing, but I'm a words person. I think each and every individual word matters and it carries some weight. There's a podcast that I did on that, how words have weight and you have to be really careful about how you throw them around.
And generally for accountability, people are not they're looking for a friend or a support system. They're not looking for a drill sergeant to berate them.
Yeah, we talked about that when we were making this slide and about how I can handle truthfulness, but I never want brutal honesty. I don't feel honesty has to be laced with brutality.
Right.
So when you go into the idea of accountability, I'm never going to want somebody breathing down my neck, screaming in my face. I don't want anybody texting me going, I cannot believe you didn't go to the gym today. I'm looking for somebody that's going to support me and say, hey, you told me it was really important for you to be in the gym today. Do you want to talk about why you didn't get there? Okay, well, this is going on. Well, let's work through that. Is that really what's more important than whatever? So, like, I'm ready to have the real conversation. But, like you said, I have no desire to have a drill sergeant. Some people thrive on that, though.
I think it depends on the goal, right? So not everybody's goal is going to be get into the gym or get fit, right?
Yeah,
that happens to be my personal goal.
Through this particular podcast, we're going to highlight what are statistically, what research shows me are the top 3 resolutions made, which are physical fitness, financial goals, and healthier relationships, whether they are romantic or platonic, family or spouse or whatever.
I think those are the most common because those are always present.
And I think they're some of the biggest pieces of our lives, our literal everyday life. Because even if you're not thinking about physical fitness as going to the gym as part of your everyday life, if you have an illness that is caused by weight or limited mobility or whatever, then yeah, that is something that you're thinking about. And we'll talk about that. I hit the microphone. I'm sorry about that. We'll talk about that. See, no reruns. They just plow forward. I was ill. I've been ill for almost a year. And this last month, I've really, really started to see some great strides. But because of that, my goals for this year have changed based on that. But anyhow, so get the support that you actually need, that you will actually benefit from. If it can be your spouse, to me, that's ideal. This is the person you wake up with every day. They're the person that you go to sleep with every day. They're the person that you are already being quote unquote accountable to throughout the day. Hey, did you get a chance to run to the store? Hey, can you pick up the kids? Don't forget we've got whatever it is. So there should already be a good flow of communication there every day. So if your spouse can be the one that helps you out and keeps you accountable and supports you, I think that's best. If you're not in that position because you don't have that kind of a spouse.
If you have a parent, a best friend, guys, it's okay to reach out to your buddies as well. If you want them to be your personal accountability, to help you out with something, it's okay.
Yeah, I think you have to find the person that you can connect with. So we'll talk about physical fitness, we'll talk about financials, we'll talk about relationships, but work for me is one of my big goals, and for some people it will be. But you are literally the only person, and for anybody that's brand new to us, we are married, but most of the time, yeah, it's a bonus. But first, foremost, and forever, we are best friends. And you are literally the only person that I can do what I call talking at. I need to talk at you. I need to just be able to say everything I've got to say, gauge your facial responses, or just hear it out loud myself so that I can catch my own errors or issues or triumphs or whatever. You are the only person I can do that with, because like Big D, for example, if I try to tell her something and she doesn't agree, it hurts her feelings if I don't agree with her. And because of that, it makes me censor what I'm saying a little bit or my response. It doesn't help me work through the whole process. So in that avenue, you are the one and the only.
And I tend to not censor
yeah, responses, but you're also good, not bad, brutal. Negative. You're not brutal though. You don't
have to be.
You don't chew me up and spit me out. So, but I would be okay with leaning on somebody else for gym accountability. So I think you can have multiple people helping you accomplish your goals. You just have to figure out who's the person who is a, not to be cliche, but who's a safe space to have these conversations. And to what? I am Buddy the Elf, that's why. Who's a safe space though to do well but also fail in front of? And then you mentioned finding support in unique places. That was something that you brought up.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be, if you don't have a spouse, it doesn't have to be that. right? If you have parent, best friend, if you have a gym membership, right, there's people that work that front desk. There might be 3 or 4 or 5 people that you see on a regular basis. Sometimes just saying hi to them and letting them know what you're working on could be a lot.
It can, because if you tell them, if you, and maybe you're not super extroverted like we are extremely extroverted.
It could be Phil that works the cheese counter at Kroger.
Yeah, I mean, if you just tell people about your goals, you tell Phil at the front desk of the grocery store of the gym, and you say, "Yeah, hey man, you should be seeing me 5 days a week, buddy." If he goes 3 or 4 days without seeing you, maybe he'll say, "Hey, how you been? What's been going on? I haven't seen you," and then that will kind of trigger that. But there are also, so if you are an introvert or an extroverted introvert, there are so many groups online that are really catered to what you need. And if you can't find the thing that you need, if your goal is to crochet 365 hats for the homeless this year, create your own group. Start a movement. You don't have to be on a big, tall platform talking into a microphone to do it. You can be behind your keyboard. So find your support and your accountability wherever you can. Point number 2.
Get over yourself.
I'm going to drink my coffee over here.
This sounds really strong, but I wanted to talk about this because I think in most aspects, at least how I try to live most of my life, is without an ego. A lot of people have strong opinions on a lot of things, but ego is one of those things where it really has no place in most aspects, especially if you're talking about goals.
I was just thinking that. Imagine being egotistical, but understanding you have these goals because you have things you've yet to accomplish.
Right. And ego is different than self-confidence.
Could not agree more.
So when I think about it, I think, replace that quote unquote wind down time after work. Replace that downtime with things that can actually help you towards your goals, right? You don't need to wind down and play Xbox or PS5 for 3 hours and negate other responsibilities, right? Put yourself into those responsibilities, and that becomes part of your daily.
And we talked about that becomes preparing for different things. You have to prepare for the next day, the schedule, the connection with the family, the work stuff. And we have been saying in our family for a decade that being prepared is the solution for stress. Right? I know I love my little catchphrases.
Yeah, you love your phrases. And I did the same. Have for as long as I can remember as an adult. But it's one of those things, right? When you know you have responsibilities, take care of them, right? It does take you applying yourself. That's any goal, right? Financial goal, a better diet, any kind of fitness thing, or just small goals, right? I want to save money in order to buy a better vehicle by the end of the year, or something like that. It takes work. Everything takes work. But when you apply yourself and you make that your habit of applying yourself, folding laundry after it's done.
How dare you? Look at me.
I'm just looking at you. We happen to be having a conversation right now. Laundry is one of my things.
If you missed it, he looked just over at me, just at the moment he said laundry.
If taking care of laundry more on a regular basis, right, if that becomes one of your small goals, right, then do that. Apply yourself. Get in the mindset of this is a part of a thing. You don't have to dread it. It could be, I often fold laundry to music.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I'll throw on a Taylor Swift record like we had this morning and just fold laundry. Just embrace that mindset that you'll work for it, and when it's done, you did it. You accomplished it.
You made me think of something that I hadn't thought of before while you were talking just now. And it's the concept of if you wanted to, you would. Now, I tell people out there, I tell women constantly, my husband is a definition of if he wanted to, he would. And I know you don't fully understand that because most of the men that you spend your time with are really good, wonderful men who love their families and they love their kids and they are devoted to the work that it takes to run that family. But I know a lot of men who don't do that. They come home and they go into their little game room or study or whatever, and they live there for the night and they don't help out. I'm certain there are women that do this too, but the people that I know are men. But when you're sitting here talking about, yeah, yeah. But when you're sitting here talking about watching the movie after work or playing Xbox or whatever for all these hours, I think, okay, yeah, that's winding down. But if you really, really wanted to make a change, you would. So maybe part of that is also wanting it bad enough.
Yes.
Something I told you a few days ago that I was excited about is I had heard this expression somewhere and it said, complaining is like watering weeds. All the wrong things are growing, but they're just going to keep on growing because you're just going to continue fussing about it.
And time doesn't slow down.
Time is going to pass regardless. You're going to wake up tomorrow, you're going to live your whole day, you're going to lay down at night. And the question is, did you live your whole day and during that time work towards your goals, make yourself a better person, contribute more to your family or your job or society? Or are you going to lay down tonight and know that you sat in front of a TV for 5 hours and didn't push anything out? You just took in whatever is out there for you to take in.
Two comments on that. One, on our flight back to Hawaii yesterday, I got to see the new Transformers 1 movie.
You did?
Super awesome.
The word Transformers
Super
is in our notes
awesome.
here. I did notice that.
So, yeah, second thing about that, right? Watching all the Transformers films would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because they are awesome.
Movie marathon
Every
day.
one of them. But it won't get you any closer to starting that book you wanted to read.
Or,
right? So get over the mindset
the me time.
Of me time. And
The
just
I
do the work.
deserve it. You know what you deserve? I know we've talked on this slide way too long, but
A better life.
what you deserve is to be alive when your kids have their own kids. You deserve to be well enough to walk around on that vacation that you save so much money for without your ankles hurting and your knees hurting and not being able to breathe and not being able to walk up steps.
Yes.
You deserve to be able to spend money on that vacation because you work so hard at work and you're making better financial choices. You deserve all those things too. They're just a little harder to get to without some effort, and they're impossible to get to if your backside is parked on the couch all day. And I say couch metaphorically, of course. Number 3, I used to joke and say, what if you had to jog on the treadmill to activate your internet for the day?
Oh.
We'd be so pissed.
Oh, let's get the kids.
Okay. So number 3, we got to keep going. Number 3, get real about the journey. This one to me, you have to understand what you have to do to meet your goals. Okay. There are small milestones. Hey, thank you, sir. There are small milestones that you have to step on to get to the end of the line, to get where you're going. And I think we underestimate and underappreciate those moments. So we're setting these crazy goals that are way down there that are unattainable and unachievable
in one step.
Completely overwhelming. And you look at your goal and you're like, well, that's awesome. And I'm not awesome. Look at me. And you don't think about, okay, I'm awesome enough to get up every single morning and start my day with a glass of water. I'm awesome enough to do that. I'm awesome enough to take a 15-minute walk after every single meal, but maybe the gym is 2 steps from here.
Right. And there's so many phrases like that, right? Eat it like an elephant.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Take it one step at a time. It's not necessarily about the destination, but the journey. Right. Things, when you break it down into smaller pieces, right, incrementally, you develop a map, a plan to achieve whatever your goal is.
When you do any sort of sales job, they say you got to talk about the why. Have you ever heard this?
No.
You got to talk about the why. Why are you on this path? Why are you doing it? And it's gimmicky and it is cliche, but there is some foundational truth to it. Why are you doing this? And honestly, I just want to lay it all out here. Fine with goals being set for vanity purposes. You want to lose weight. Okay, why? Well, because I want to look great in a swimsuit. I want to look beautiful. Fine. That's perfectly fine. Maybe your reason for getting fit, getting healthy, and I hate that people dog on women particularly for this thing. Like, oh, you should be focused on strength and muscle and blah blah blah. You know what? Maybe she wants to be thin. That is not your business. Mind your own business. Be kind or be quiet. Mind your own biscuits. I think it's okay for that to be vanity purposes. Like, you know what? Maybe you want to save money so you can redecorate your house. Do those things matter to Joe over there? No, Joe's saving money for a 2-week long vacation for him and his wife. Okay, who cares? You want to feel great when people walk into your home. You want to live in a beautiful place and your goal is about stuff. That's fine. But you've got to really get real about why. And you've got to understand what it takes to get there, which leads us right into the next point, which is
Get educated.
get educated.
Understanding your goals, right? Saying you want to be more financially stable is one thing. How are you going to do that? What are you going to learn about the process to get you to where you want to be, right? Weight loss is a big one for a lot of people.
Mhm. I do want to talk about finances though, because I have some tips.
Okay.
No, you can go. Yeah, go ahead.
For weight loss, right? Everybody has different lifestyles, habits, all those kind of things, right? And it's not just go to the gym and then magically you get results, right? You have
I want to
to,
lose 15 pounds. Baby, that's a lot of pounds.
right? But it's also not going to happen just right,
Or
a little
probably
bit,
in the first 6 months, to be honest. Right. How do you know?
right?
You can't see me waving my arms around, but they're
There's
out
all
here.
kinds of free, good and bad, free advice
Yeah.
online, right, for weight loss and fitness tools. Like me, so if you look online,
I'm
for
also
advice
in my
of
40s.
gentlemen goals for
Yeah.
people over 40, there's a wide variety of like, well, old man Rivers, don't go breaking a hip, just trying to do it on everything you can on day one like you were 20, right? You can't do that. But then some of us, well, we still think we can, right?
You're also 6 feet plus some.
Right.
And you are built like a Viking. And so, somebody else that's a different
Right.
stature than you.
And genetics are going to come into play.
Absolutely,
Genetics
they are.
will come into play, right? I'm not built like anybody else.
Me neither. Isn't that weird? We'll come back to that another day.
Weird. It's
But
weird.
we both are sort of.
But Ancestry.com and 23andMe, well, no.
We're related.
We're definitely
not to
related.
each other. Let's be clear. The Tennessean and me.
I was like, I was about to say, all right, Tennessee, like.
Yes, we are what I call us the white sheep of our family because we both turned out pretty good, and yeah.
Yep. So if it's gym stuff, talk to people who are also regularly involved in physical fitness, right? It doesn't have to equate to you have to get a gym membership.
Right.
A lot of people get a gym membership and then never go.
I have an app I highly recommend.
It is really good.
It is called FitOn, FITON, FitOn. It is a yearly subscription. We pay for it once a year. I think it's worth every dime.
And some of those exercises, the routines, the circuit training are only 15 to 23 minutes.
Yeah, so it's all on your phone with certified fitness professionals. They have a bunch of different programs. I actually think there may be a free version, but you're super limited on what you can do. But they have professionals that literally visually and verbally walk you through the whole thing. You get to choose your own adventure. You can do no impact, low impact. You can do the thing that's called like get lean or get shredded. Some work with light weights, some work with yoga mat. There's stretching that, I mean, it is a massive library.
I personally like all the body resistance.
Yeah, body weight stuff. Yeah. But so that's my advice for an app if you do not have access to a gym. I don't know about you, but I'm way more willing to roll out of bed, slide on tennis shoes, and stay in my pajamas, spend 22 minutes or so doing a workout rather than getting in the car and driving somewhere. Some people like the social aspect of it, but you start eliminate when you get educated, you eliminate excuses. Oh,
Write it down.
write it down.
New T-shirt
When
idea.
you get educated, you eliminate excuses. Please help me remember that. One thing I want to talk about though is the work you really do have to put in if you're going to make big changes. Doing a budget, for example, that's amazing. It's great. I would say it's the first start. I suggest Every Dollar, which is a free program. You can do it online. You can do it on your phone, and the goal is to track literally every single dollar that you spend because you are educating yourself about where your money is going. Okay, which I think is the very, very first step to financial accountability. Where are your dollars going? I don't want to turn this into a podcast about like how to manage your finances because I'm not an expert. I just know what I've learned throughout the years of literally pinching every single penny I have. It is the number one reason for divorce. Did you know that?
It's not because I didn't fold the socks right.
You fold socks. We're going to talk after this stuff.
You don't have to roll on me.
Nope. In our family, we say if you're doing it well, you're doing it right. Meaning, if all the clothes are in a drawer and they're mostly in the right place, high fives all around. No, but about getting educated about your finances, did you know that you can shop all of your bills every single year? Every January, I shop finances. So I look at car insurance and I do a free quote from all these places that does not affect my credit score. And you got to know what will and what won't. It requires some education, learning something. And I shop our car insurance. Typically, it is the agent that I'm currently using, but if it's not, I will change it because guess what? The coverage doesn't change as long as you're using a reputable resource. When we still own the Pink House, I shop my homeowner's insurance every year, my business insurance every year. Sometimes it would be pretty much exactly the same. It's like, well, I'll save 40 if I switch. Well, I'm not worried about that $40 a year because of all the paperwork. But one year, my business insurance, the difference between $1 million of coverage, it's like a $600 per year difference between two agencies, both top 5 agencies. Heck yeah, I'm switching, saving myself $600. Same for your cell phone carriers. Like, don't be afraid to go out there and ask questions and negotiate and stand up for yourself. If that one cable company sends you the letter and says we're jacking your price up again, literally get on the phone and call them and say, I'm sorry, that's not my budget. I'm sorry, I can't pay the additional amount. Can you please keep my bill as it is? And guess what? They will. I've done it. And I will say I will have to switch companies to a lower cost. Can you just leave me on? I've been a customer for however amount of time and my budget doesn't support your increase in price. A lot of times they'll say yes, but you don't know unless you're reading and you're researching and you're talking to other educated people. So get educated, understand what you have to do to get to your goals.
If your goal this year is to buy, restore it, buy a junker, right? Have a project car. Maybe you do have pretty good financial health, but you need to get started on that project car that's been in the garage. Maybe you bought it at an auction 4 years ago. It's still under that car. All right. Maybe it's time this year to do that. But then you're going to have to
watch all the YouTube videos.
Watch all the YouTube.
YouTube is your friend.
YouTube University, right?
Yes.
Get into it, right?
Budget for your parts.
Take the cover off, dust it off, see what you're working with, and pick a section and start. Go.
And you're already on your phone. Don't act like you're not on your phone. You're already on your phone, and you are already go like zoop like that with it to make it smaller. There you go. I drive a Mac. He drives a PC, so we go back and forth. Yeah, I mean, just learn what you need to do. And number 5, my favorite, get back up. I have a little hype song that's from Trolls, and it's Poppy's song, Get Back Up Again. And
I will get back up again.
Thank you for that. That's our new theme song. Hey! Nothing's getting in my way.
There you go.
Anyway, no, I cannot. I will not. We'll do a special musical episode maybe one day.
Get back up again.
So when you fall down, and when you fail, regardless of what failure looks like to you,
right,
you have to get back up. You have to forgive yourself. You have to let it go, and you have to move forward.
Right.
I have an issue with words like punish, with words like cheat, with things like that. I have a problem with that because we have enough in our life, in our world, on social media, coming from the wrong people to wear us down. We do not need to be our own worst enemy, our own biggest critic. We know our limits. We know what's happening behind closed doors. We know what's going on in our minds. So, we have to make sure that we are speaking kindly to ourselves. And for all you moms out there, I want to say this: when you are failing yourself at one of your goals, and this does go for dads too, but I think sometimes the lane is what the lane is, and it's mostly moms, where the kids are really, really eagle eyeing what you're doing, and they're listening to every word you say, whether they're sitting in the other room or across the table or in the back seat while you're on the phone. So if you are being ugly to yourself, if you are talking about, oh my gosh, I ate pie after supper today and I said I wasn't going to have any sweets all week, so now I'm going to say now I can have sweets all month. You're damaging your goals more than you're helping them. You really are.
Right. Optimism, positive attitude still helps, even if you make a misstep.
Absolutely. So you don't need to be punishing yourself if you don't meet your new goals. You need to kind of, in my opinion, you need to get completely away from extreme consequences for behaviors. Now, don't go act crazy. Be conscious. But I think for me,
That's the whole get over yourself thing.
yeah, we've already covered that part, right? But you need to put it in the past and you need to forget about it. I always say close that tab. I always have 50 tabs open in my brain, and I will leave that tab open that said, I should have done this.
Right.
I should have gotten back up after we ate supper and walked around instead of just letting the next episode roll over or whatever. And I will beat myself up about it.
Right. And conversely, I'm not a multitasker, but I am a multi-step processor. And so, like we already talked about, right, doing things might take several steps to get to your goal. But once you choose a path, like, commit to it, dedicate yourself to it, and go. And don't worry about the 7 other what ifs if it was this situation or this
Right.
situation or even this situation. Like, that's life.
I know you're talking right
That
into my
is
heart right
that
now.
is life, right? Go with it and keep going.
Yeah. My main thing is start over again tomorrow morning, first thing. I have a bit of a habit in which I'm a timeline person. We talked with my bonus boy, about timelines, and we were talking, he was just kind of part of the conversation while we were chatting about this. I am the type of person that will say, let's start Monday. And you go, let's just start right now. And I'm like, it's Thursday at 3:00. What are you talking about? We can't start a goal on Thursday at 3:00. That's crazy. So I like to start on a Monday morning or the first of the month or the start of the new year. Sure.
In 2023, we were sitting around our table, or maybe we were, I don't remember where we were. It was 2023 though, around November, and I said I don't want to have fast food anymore.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Anymore.
Okay. Thank you for bringing this up.
And the conversation, right?
Yeah, it was the beginning of November.
Yeah, and it was like, well, that could be our New Year's resolution. I'm like, no, like not a resolution. Like I just don't want it anymore ever.
Starting right this minute.
Right now.
This conversation came from nowhere. Nowhere.
And here it is, January 2025. When was the last time?
That
That we had
that day in the car.
Yep.
That day in the
November
car.
23.
Yeah, and it has made some things a little bit tricky. When people want to go places with us and stuff, we say, yeah, but we don't do fast food. And so some people that don't eat sweets, that don't do gluten, that are vegan or vegetarian,
You already get it.
You already get that. But for 100% of the time, I cannot think of a single time when anybody said, all right, well, y'all go do your own thing. We're just going to go eat fast food. Everybody's like, okay, well, what do you want to do instead? 100% of the time, including our children.
Yep.
But also, I also want to point out, you and I are not big drinkers.
No.
We will have a glass of wine at supper once in a while. I don't like water, but I drink it. On both sides of the water coin here. But we had been doing a whole bunch of social things. So if we went to somebody's house and they were doing beer and food for a game or something like that, we would have one bottle of beer or something. So I just want to set this standard for, we weren't making some big massive change, but we had a friend that was getting married maybe 5 weeks or so from when we said this. But
Right.
I said, we're coming into the holiday season and all of this. Maybe we should not drink anything anymore and just save our dollars. So if we go out and everybody's having something, we'll just have water or whatever and just save our money. And I said for, the next 2 weeks or something like that before
Right.
something happens, because I'm a timeline person. I was like, oh, for the next 2 weeks until we go to this place or whatever. And you went, oh, let's just wait until these folks get married. And I said, that's 5 or 6 weeks from now. And you're like, I know, it'd be so fun. And I was just like, it's just a random day in the middle of the week. But don't be like me. That's the whole moral of this story. Don't think you have to wait until Monday or the start of the year or the start of a month
It can
or
start right now.
after your trip or whatever. Yeah, if you really want it, just do it.
You know why?
Why?
Because right now you have the motivation.
Right now you have the motivation, and not to be dark about it, but you're not guaranteed to be sticking around until the start of the month or the start of the year. Maybe you won't have the ability at that point to feel like you emotionally can start something new. And again, that goes back to point one, which is get that support. Because if you were a person that said, oh, well, you can stop drinking, you can stop eating fast food, I support you, but that's not what I want for myself, that would make life far more difficult, far more stressful. And for me personally, it would feel, I mean, not supportive. I wish it was like a fancier way to say that, but I would look at you and think, yeah, he thinks it's good enough for me, but it's not good enough that he can get on board with me, so I don't have to do this on myself. And that companion, we were not meant to be alone. We were meant to do things together. So that's my point about that.
Does that mean you're going to start folding origami with me?
Yes. Is it okay if it takes me 10 times longer than you?
Yes.
Or you're a very patient person. We're actually both really patient people overall. So those are our bits of advice for how to keep your resolutions, how to keep your goals set. And I'm going to circle back around to the very first slide, which is get support,
Get over yourself,
get real about the journey,
get educated,
and get back up.
Get back up.
The thing
Have
is,
that resolve.
time is already passing, and this will be the last thing I say, but time is already passing. You're already getting up every day and making the choices that you make. We, particularly as women, I'm going to keep going back to particularly as women, and
Absolutely.
I would love for the men that listen and watch to contribute to more of the conversation, but mostly it's the women. And we are already giving so much to so many people. We are giving to our jobs and our kids and the after school activities and the thought process on the groceries and the meal planning and all of these things. At some point, we as individuals, everybody, men, women, whatever, we need to understand that we're worthy of some thought as well. A little thought back into yourself. It's not selfish if you are trying to get well over, physical issues, if you are trying to get smarter with your money. We think at the end of every month, we'll let you know what we're going to talk about the next month, just so you know if you want to tune in or not. The whole goal, always and forever, is to put a little goodness out in the world, to put a little love and encouragement, to be friends for those that don't have somebody to lean on and talk to about stuff. We welcome your comments here or on social media or into our inbox. And that's it. That's all I got.
I do have my last comment.
Yes,
This thing. One,
please.
I feel it's a very solid topic.
Yeah.
In relation to that, I do have a dad.
Well, it wouldn't. Let's just end every podcast for the year, starting today on a random day,
Ooh.
not the first of the year of the
Okay.
month. Let's choose to end each podcast with a joke.
To keep it in the vein of motivation and positive attitude, what was the fastest dinosaur in the Olympics?
I don't know what was the fastest dinosaur in the Olympics.
Brontosaurus.
Okay, I'll take it. I welcome you to keep workshopping your material. Okay, so until next time,
Take care of yourself.
and take care of each other. See y'all later.